I know. I seem like the most put together, got everything happening and everything under control guy on the planet. I understand that impression of me because I cultivate it. I work hard at cultivating it. But I'm going to make an admission to you right now. I suck at one thing. I'm terrible at one thing. I hate doing one thing. And what's that? Accounting and paperwork. I don't know why. I wish it wasn't the case, but maybe my mother was frightened by an actuary before she birthed me. I don't know. But I've never been good at it. And it's always one of those things that, do you have things like this in your business, in your life? There's things that everybody else around you is pretty good at. You think you should be able to do, but you procrastinate on it. You don't do it well, and it drives you crazy. And we've all overcome so many things, overcome many things in our lives. But this is one thing that still, at this age, I still don't have a handle on. I'm in the middle of my year-end accounting. That's why this vlog is a little bit late getting out, because I'm in the middle of my year-end accounting, and it paralyzes me. I can sit and stare at an envelope for 7 minutes before I open it. I don't know why. Do you have something that you hate about your job? That you hate about your duties? Is there one thing? Tell me in the comments. What's the one thing you hate? And you can't pick more than one. You've just got to pick one. That of your duties that you do in your life. It can be personal and it can be business. I expect it's probably going to be business. And I'm wondering if as you have that conversation with me, first of all, A, does it increase your frustration and your pressure? Am I depressing you right now? Because the conversation does depress me slightly. But Farley is adding his 2 cents worth. I don't know. Yeah, what's going on? There's nothing happening, Farley. I'm in the middle of a vlog. Can you go? There you go. Off you go. Go. The reason that this is all coming into focus, other than the fact it's my year end, but I'm also hosting a webinar later this week. So it depends on when you watch this vlog. It could have been last week or previously, but on starting an online business. And I'm wondering, as you think about starting a side hustle, are you at the stage where you're considering an online business a side hustle, or you're considering making a change? If the duties that bother you the most in your job come into play in your making a decision on what that side hustle, when you create, because theoretically, if you're creating an online business for yourself, it should be the perfect job, shouldn't it? It should be the thing that you want to do the most, and the thing that you love, and the thing that's going to I've been watching this, what is Marie Komodo, spark joy in your life. Sorry, that's very hackneyed now. But whatever you choose to do, you better have some passion about. But I think that even if we are passionate about a job, that there are going to be things in that job that are just roadblocks that just stop us. And how do you deal with them? I do hire an accountant. That helps a lot. But I still have to give the accountant all of the paperwork and all of the information to do said accounting. And again, I'm not so good at that. I don't know. Yeah, I feel really bad even just talking about it right now. Tell me what it is about your job that you hate. And maybe I'll feel better. Maybe we can commiserate together. This is like that scene from is it Jaws, when they're saying, "Yeah, that's not a shark bite. This is a shark bite." Maybe the thing that you hate is worse than the thing that I hate. And when I read it, I might go, "Wow, I'm sure glad that I don't hate doing that." Okay, now let me get off the pity party for myself over my accounting. I'll get over it. Trust me. Let's talk a little bit about this webinar that I'm planning, starting an online business. Because, as you know, large part of this vlog, but a big part of my now weekly podcast, Gray Matters, is talking about baby boomers and Gen X developing a side hustle, starting their own online business, and growing their opportunities outside of the normal 9-to-5 job. So I listened to a really compelling podcast. It was actually Amy Porterfield and Marie Forleo. Maria's launching her B School, and so she always, a big part of that launch is always doing some stuff with Amy Porterfield. We're involved in the launch as well. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But they talked about 7 fears. I like this podcast because they talk about 7 fears that people have in starting their online business. And to just quickly go over the cut to the chase, you don't have an email list, you don't have enough skills to make an online business work. It's been done before. The market's saturated, too old to start an online business. That might resonate with us, might it not? Yeah, I want to do something different than I've been doing for 10 or 20 years, but I'm not sure how to start over. That's really what I'm basing my upcoming webinar on. So you don't know how to start over. I can't figure out all the tech, and I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's just all too much, which is some of those things kind of fold into the other as far as the talking points that they had. But there's a couple of those issues that I want to address. The first is that it's been done before. So you're thinking about starting an online business, and maybe you're thinking about being a coach or a consultant, or you're going to be teaching people how to improve their lifestyle through diet or through exercise or through meditation, or you're teaching them productivity skills the way that I teach, or some business negotiation skills. Everything's been done before, and I will give you that. Everything has been done before, and everything that I publish, for example, on my channel, on my YouTube channel, you can find somebody else that's done a good job of talking about that topic. The times that there's something new, that we get to take a new take on something, a brand new release of a new version of a piece of software, you've got a minuscule window if you rush that video out where you're the only person that's talked about that. Now, there's benefit in doing that, but everything that we cover has been talked about before. So why would a person start in a space that's already, quote unquote, saturated? I think you need to take a step back, and you need to recognize that people follow individuals online, not just because of the information that they deliver, but because they trust them and they have a relationship with them. It's all about the relationship. And I want to stay away from that phrase, but you know the phrase, you have to know, like, and trust somebody online. But there's a familiarity and an understanding and a comprehension for more than just the information, but the perspective that information is being delivered by. You folks follow me because you understand my ethos. You understand, to a certain extent, the person that I am. And if you follow me in my productivity videos, you recognize that if I'm recommending something or not recommending something, you know the context of how I position that. You want to see the product reflected through my lens, because even though we might not know each other personally, you know me because of how much I've shared with you through these different platforms that I'm involved in. So as you consider growing your own community, you don't have to worry about the fact that you're going into a saturated marketplace. In fact, there's a school of thought that going into a saturated marketplace is even better than a blue ocean strategy, because if it's saturated, it's been proven that it's a good marketplace to be in. There are so many people in the online space that you don't have to worry about finding a tribe. You have to work hard at it. I'm not going to say that it's not a challenge to build a community, but that community is there. And regardless of how many other people are in the space, you can still carve out your space, because it's going to be your relationship. You know, if you're thinking about getting married, if you're single and thinking about getting married, there's a lot of married people out there. But you just have to find that one person, right? It doesn't take a huge community to have a successful business. You just have to find your voice and find your community. So I hope and I recognize that is one of the things that stops people the most, that they think it's been done before. But to my mind, it's also one of the least important things to worry about. The other one that they talk about, which I think is far more difficult, is that you feel you don't have enough skills, where you aren't sure that what you have to share has a marketplace. And that's a really hard one to give advice on, to overcome, because it's so personal in nature, and it's so tied to your personal identity and how you think about yourself and how you see your value. But if you've been in business as long as most of us here have been in business, and you've been successful, you've got a lot of skills to share. You just haven't thought about how to present them. And often, in many cases, it's humility that gets in our way here, that you think people aren't interested and that they don't value the skills that we have. And that might be due to management we've had who didn't appreciate what we had to bring to the table, or just personal humility, just the fact that we don't necessarily want to, puff up our chest too much and say how great we are. But the experience that you have has to be incredibly valuable because it's got you to the point you are today. And then when you start to articulate that, when you start going through the process of sharing that, of entrenching it, of producing content around it, you start to recognize just how deep and how valuable that experience is. And when you go through the process, I think we all start planning our online business with a series of daydreams. We start dreaming, first of all, about what it might look like not having to commute or not having to do the things that we hate, the accounting and the things that we hate in work. And then we daydream about the opportunity, about how nice it would be to earn money or to earn the freedom or to have the security that running your own online business represents. Some of us might daydream a little bit about the celebrity, about building a community, about having a voice, and about being respected in the online space and what comes from that. There's a whole series, I'm sure, of different chapters to our daydreams as we start thinking about and imagining what this future might look like and what we might become in our online space. I think a lot of those dreams die when you start to worry about the value that you bring to the table. And so I wish I could give you a single piece of advice that would help overcome that, other than it's something that we're going to come back to and hammer over and over again, that you have to trust yourself. You have to trust that what you are, that you do have that special spark inside, that you can shine a light on and help somebody. If you go and you enter the entire process of imagining an online business for yourself, not just from the perspective of what it's going to do for you, but what you can do for others, then I think the pathway opens up for you. There. That's a lot more useful than me whining and complaining about my terrible accounting practices. Looking forward to your comments. I'm obviously going to love to hear comments on what you hate about your job. That's going to make me feel a lot better about myself, I can promise you. But also, if you take time and comment about what your thoughts are about starting an online business and what the roadblocks are that might be stopping you from starting, that would be something that I'd be fascinated to have a conversation with you about as well. Till next time, have fun storming a castle.